Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I am Sonique, and following on from my unboxing of Tarot of Persephone's Garden, this beautiful deck here by Cora Small, I bought two more. So I bought, this is the business card, the follow-up to this deck. So this is the Cthonia edition. The other offering is Tarot of the Huntress. Take a look at the Artemis deck, Tarot of the Huntress. This is Cora Small's business card, and they can be found on Instagram at Chthonic Forest and on Etsy at chtonicforest.etsy.com. Okay, so we'll have a look at this deck, and there's an ode on the back. Guardian of the night, you stand so free, protector of the wild, of beast and tree. Blessed Huntress, grant us your clear sight to navigate through darkness into light. And we've got the phases of the moon on the back here. And this is the back image of the cards. There's just a top box here. So these are the backs of the cards, and isn't that just divine? Oh, so beautiful. Tarot of the Huntress, a curated art deck honouring the archetypal goddess of the hunt, wilderness and the moon, created by Cora Small. And it's a linen cardstock, just like Tarot of Persephone. Tarot of Persephone's Garden. So we start with the Huntress. So Cora said that Artemis is often associated with Selene. Selene is the goddess that I've always felt most drawn to. And sometimes Hecate. Diana is her Roman name. And as a huntress, this goddess protects nature, animals and women. So we could call her Artemis, Diana, or even Abnoba, which is one I actually haven't heard of, but collectively known as the Huntress. So this deck's following the Rider-Waite-Smith structure, but there is a little bit of deviance. So the pages are now called Nymphs, the Knights of Spirits, and some of the mages have been renamed as well. So let's start with the Huntress. Just about to go on the hunt with the dogs. There's two here. So this is Diana the Huntress from the 19th century painting by Gaston Cashmere Saint-Pierre. So it's nice that Cora actually gives the reference to the paintings. So here we have the witch, which we've seen in quite a few Greek mythology decks that I've got. This is the John William Waterhouse image. It's quite dark on this one. From 1886, called The Magic Circle. The original witch. Hecate. And then we have a Ceres for the High Priestess. This is Valida by André Charles Voilemont. A Germanic Ceres. And then from the Roman era, who prophesied a win against the Romans, which came true. A fortune teller. Our Empress is Leto, who is Artemis' mother. So Artemis and Apollo were twins, born of Leto and Zeus. And there's Zeus's eagle. And here's the god himself, Zeus, as the emperor. Here called Jupiter. So this next one's quite interesting, the horned god. So here it often talks about tradition, doesn't it? And here, this is the god of nature, which is very fitting. The great he-goat on the witch's Sabbath by Goya. Goya's paintings are always so expressive. Oh, this is the Lovers, a dream of Latmos. So this is Selene. and Endymion. So she was the Titan goddess of the moon, the original, and fell in love with a mortal, visiting it in his dreams. And beyond the chariots, this is called the night. So this is Not that travels across the sky on her horse, and it's also ruled by the moon because it's Cancer. Yes. So Strength is a beautiful stag. This is the king of the forest, guardian of the forest, standing his ground unafraid. And stags and deers are sacred to Artemis. Stags feature heavily throughout her story. So maybe, I'm thinking out loud here, but I keep getting stag energy coming to me, so maybe Artemis is, and I like Selene as well, I'm very drawn to Selene, always have been. Maybe that is my patron goddess. Just thinking out loud. And we have the Roman version, which is Diana. And it calls on the fact here that she's chaste. Artemis doesn't want any sexual union and is wildly independent and solitary. Oh, we have the Fates for the Wheel of Fortune. This is a German painting called Die Nornen from 1894. This is the Moirai, the Norns or the Fates. They're the personification of destiny, which is true because they measure out time here of a person's life. Then we have Justice. Justice is Diana and Actaeon from 1886. And he, I don't know if you can actually see him there, very, very faint, but spied on her while she was bathing. Her nymphs were around her, but he did catch sight of her. And when she realised, she actually turned him into a stag. And his dogs attacked and killed him, not knowing it was their master. We have perspective here for our hanged one. This is Luna. So being so high up in the sky, they can see a bigger perspective than we can here on Earth. Here's our death card. This is the death of Sappho. And this is after she's hurled herself off a cliff and is in the deep water here. We have Temperance with a water nymph. And she's controlling here, controlling the water. The Devil, we have these water nymphs here dragging this soldier down to his death. They are the Sirens. The Tower, I love this picture. This is Cassandra. And the way this is done, the hair actually looks like fire, doesn't it? Which depicts the fire in the background here. Cassandra was a Trojan priestess, and Apollo took a fancy to her, but she rejected him. So he cursed her. And she could prophesy, she could tell the future, and she knew everything that was going to happen. But because she upset Apollo, he cursed her with the fact that nobody would actually believe what she was saying and just think she was a mad person. And so she was tormented by not being able to warn people of what was coming. Okay, the star. This is called Asking the Stars from 1895. Looking to the stars for guidance. And we're back to the moon. And our lovely Selene. So this is an 1880 painting, which is absolutely stunning. The sun. Of course, Helios. So this is the Titan sun god. And Selene's brother, actually. Brother and sister. So Helios is the Titan god. And then he's superseded by Apollo. Artemis' brother. Okay, for judgment, we have Diana the Hunter. Again with a beautiful dog and a horn, blowing the horn to signify the start of a hunt. And then finally the World card, which is Diana again, a 1904 painting. This is after the hunt, totally in their domain of the forest. Okay, let's start with the fire suit here, the one suit as it would be. So we've got a wolf. This wolf's got red eyes, look, protects Artemis. 2, it's got Diana again, looking out over the hunt to come. Here we've got the 3 of fire, and this is the nymphs that are hunting now. The 4, Wotan's farewell to Brunhild. Nice passionate embrace there. Got this stag energy again in the 5. Rutting bucks. So they're trying to win a female, so it's rutting season. See who's going to be top dog, who's going to have dominance. So the 6 of fire is an allegory of victory. We've got the victory wreath here and the flower. This is the goddess Victoria. 7 of fire is Valkyrie. And they come onto the battlefield and see who's worthy to go to Valhalla and gives them safe passage. The 8 is Diana. Just fired an arrow there. The 9, Eurydice. Just been stung by a snake. And fatally as well. So. A fatal snake wound. The 10, Apollo and Diana, the brother and sister. And they're attacking Niobe's children because she insulted Leto, which was Apollo and Artemis's mother, because she had lots of children and she was saying that she was better than Leto because of all these children that she produced. So in response to that, Artemis and Apollo attacked and killed all of her children. Nymph of fire, Morgenstern. So all the pages are nymphs. Artemis is surrounded by her nymphs. So this one holds a star, symbolic of fire. And fire's potential. Here's the spirit of fire. We've got another Valkyrie here on the battlefield. The Queen of Fire, we've got Diana the Huntress. She's on the front of the box. Confident, independent, and no doubt about their own abilities. The Queen of Wands. And then for the King, we've got Apollo and Diana. So this is Artemis's brother, a sun god. Confident and creative abilities. Painting from 1757. We go on to the cup suit or the water suit, and we've got a bear here. This is called 70 Degrees North, painted in 1932. Bears in general are sacred to Artemis, so that's why it's been included. The 2 of water, Hermia and Lysander, 2 lovers from the Midsummer's Night Dream. It's a Shakespeare play, which takes place in a forest. The 3 of water, oh, this is so beautiful. Moonbeams dipping into the sea. Evelyn de Morgan painting. The 4, Erato, muse of poetry. Looking very bored there. The 5 is Sappho. So we saw Sappho after she'd hurled herself off the cliff. So there she is in the death card. And here she is in the 5 of water, walking beside the sea that she'll eventually drown in. And here she is in despair. Why? Because she fell in love with a lover that did not reciprocate. And so she's very sad, being rejected by a love interest. The Six of Water, we have Latona with her children Apollo and Diana. So this is Leto, and this is Apollo and Artemis as children. So we've got like the moon for Artemis and the sun here for Apollo. A lovely waterhouse, very famous waterhouse image here for the Seven of Water, the Midsummer Eve. Stepped into a fairy ring. Eight of Water. Oh, this is Iphigenia. Very sad story, Iphigenia. Her father had displeased Artemis and offered his daughter as a sacrifice, Iphigenia. Pretended that to Iphigenia and the mother that she was going to be married to Achilles, but it was a ruse to get her to her place of execution. In one version of the story, Artemis interferes, and as Iphigenia is being murdered, she actually turns her into a deer. So it says here she's accepted her fate when she realises what's in front of her. The Nine of Water. We're back to some bears. An Arctic mermaid lies on a block of ice with her polar bear companions. It's called Lure of the North. The Ten of Water is Idle, an ancient family, protected by Artemis in the forest where they live. Oh, lovely. Okay, so our nymph in cups is gazing at her own reflection in a puddle, letting her imagination flow. The spirit is Iris, the rainbow goddess. You can see the rainbow there. So here Iris is carrying a cup of water from the river Styx up to Mount Olympus. The Queen of Water, Selene and Endymion again. Here she's shown being very nurturing. And little babies. Oh, King of Water. There's Poseidon, who rules the seas. Okay, so we've got another creature for our ace. This is an horned owl, a nocturnal bird of prey. 2. So another Valkyrie here, holding vigil. That must be over the battlefield. Take the heroes to Valhalla. The 3 of Air is Medea on her golden chariot. So Medea kills her own children because she's taken revenge on Jason and the Argonauts. That's dreadful, isn't it? Killing their own children. Just to spite Jason. Anyway, 4 of Air, the siesta of Diana. So there they are. Her and Artemis and the nymphs having a rest. 5 of Air. Okay, so this is the Hamadryad. So this tree spirit here is preventing this man who's about to chop down the tree. Saying, nope, not this one. You're not chopping down this one. Not going to allow it. Okay, 6 of Air. So it says, the man and his horse companion sail on to something new, following his soul's call. Siegfried. There we go. Here we have Jupiter in the guise of Diana. Jupiter, or Zeus, was known to actually take on different disguises in order to lure and have his wicked way with women. So this is Callisto. He's trying to lure here. So here Zeus is pretending to be Artemis, and when Artemis actually found out that Callisto was pregnant, she turned Callisto into a bear. It's from all the Greek mythologies that I've been reading, it's always the women that get punished for being raped or abused. Always the women. Interesting, huh? Okay, so for the 8 of air we have soul in bondage. The soul sits in the in-between, waiting for the next incarnation, so between lives. A little butterfly there. For the transformation. This one is an Edward Burne-Jones painting, so a pre-Raphaelite painting, called Night. She stands at the edge of a precipice, her mind riddled with anxiety. In her darkest hour, she's embraced by Nyx, which is the goddess of the night. And we have Medusa for the 10. Medusa is a symbol of feminine power and is actually, there's a whole story with Athena and Medusa, which would explain why this is the 10 of Swords or the 10 of Air. Okay, so our nymph is a moon nymph. Our moon spirit, a lady of Selene, lives in the sky. Isn't this gorgeous? This is Selene again. Her aim is true, her arrow never misses. And the queen is Diana, the Roman version of Artemis. She can be cruel, but she is just. She can be very cruel, actually. A fierce protector of those in her domain, as long as she's not offended. Yeah, do not offend her. And then the king is Jupiter, Mercury, and Virtue. So Mercury, as the king of air, or Hermes, is a master of communication and traveller between worlds. So obviously this is part of the whole painting that would include Zeus and Virtue. Earth, we have the bears, mourning in a pine forest. Ivan Shishkin, Konstantin Savilsky, 1889. A family of brown bears, and yeah, as we've seen, bears are sacred to Artemis. Callisto was actually turned into a bear. They represent Earth in that they are connected to nature's cycle. Yeah, they hibernate in the winter, emerge in the spring. This 2 of Earth. So the nymphs here are swinging. 2 of Diana's nymphs on one swing. They've been pushed backwards and forwards by another nymph here. I don't know what this one's doing. This one's lying down. Oh, yeah, they're all having a lovely time, actually. Playtime. The 3, the Huntresses. So these are all the Huntress and the nymphs. The common goal to protect the forest. The 4, this is Lady Artemis holding tightly to her bow, waiting for the right time to actually fire the arrows. This 5, Diana leaving her bath. So it's a vulnerable moment to be in a bath in the nude. And that's when Actaeon spied her. And because of which she did feel violated, so that's why it's the 5 of Earth. But yeah, she did retaliate, didn't she? Turn him into a stag. We have Cthonia here, the queen of the fairies, born of Gaia, 6 of Earth. The 7, Sappho again. The 8. So this is called Vulcan, forging the thunderbolts of Jupiter. And then the 9, goddess of the hunt. Once again, Artemis, or Diana, being very content with a dog there. Moon symbol. The 10, again we're back to the bears here, little cub. Oh, fast asleep. And show how vulnerable a little bear is. You know, like dogs do that, don't they, when they feel very comfortable and very safe. They'll lie on the back with their legs in the air. Okay, so a nymph of Earth is a nymph in a forest. The spirit. Dryad, so another tree spirit. Checking on the tree, making sure it's okay. The Queen of Earth, Diana and her maidens. Again, protecting and nurturing her nymphs. And then finally the King of Earth. We've got two figures here. So this is I can never say this word, it's satire, or Pan. Nature's abundance personified. Very much king of the forest. Okay, so that's the deck. So if you feel called to work with Artemis or Selene, as I actually really do, all this stag energy that's calling to me, and I love bears. I really love bears. I really associate with bears and the moon. So this is going to be a wonderful deck for me to work with and explore and play with. So yeah, that is Tarot of the Huntress, the Ode to Artemis by Cara Small. So for the next part of this video, I thought we'd look at these two decks together. Now I've already done a full walkthrough of the Tarot of Persephone's Garden. From Hades' Realm, Your Light is Born. And this is the newest edition, the Cthonia edition. And it says on the back, "Here, blessed goddess, send a rich increase of various fruits from earth. With lovely peace send health, with gentle hand, and crown my life with blessed abundance, free from noisy strife. Last in extreme old age, the prey of death. Dismiss me willing to the realms beneath, to thy fair palace and the blissful plains where happy spirits dwell, and Pluton reigns." And that's an Orphic hymn 29 to Persephone. Okay, so you can see from the front of the box we've got the same image here but in reverse. So I thought if we just look at them side by side, because I'm aware that some of the images are actually the same image, but some have been changed. So this deck, this newest version, focuses on a different side of Persephone. So whereas this first one is the maiden, or Kore as she's called, this one is Persephone. So Kore is the maiden and Persephone is when she becomes the queen of the underworld. So this is autumn, this is spring, and the backs echo that fact, don't they? Very spring and very autumn. Cleverly done. So both of them use Victorian art and pre-Raphaelite art to tell the story of Persephone within a Rider-Waite-Smith system of tarot. So let's have a look. So, a curated art deck dedicated to the Queen of the Underworld. And then we have the Ode to Persephone on the original deck. "O Persephone, with your grace adorned, from Hades' realm your light is born. Through cycles old the seasons turn. In your embrace all life shall yearn." And then in the Cthonia edition, "With seeds of pomegranate bold and red, in autumn you return to the land of the dread. O Persephone, Cthonia, goddess of life and death, darkness falls by winter's breath." And Cthonia is of Greek origin, and it means of or relating to the underworld. So I did, like I said, a full walkthrough of this deck. So I don't want to lay too heavily on it. We will look at the newer version, I think, and see what the differences are. Okay, so we begin with the maiden, which is Proserpina in this deck, or Kore, and that's the Greek word for maiden, the goddess of spring, symbolic of the innocence and naivety that the traditional fall embodies. And here we have Pandora opening the box. Yes, curiosity and all that. So with the sorceress, we have a different image. So this is Medea, which we saw in Tarot of the Huntress. So yeah, she's collecting things here to do some magic with. And we have a witch or a sorceress here, which is a Waterhouse painting. So the High Priestess has stayed the same in both decks, and it's the Priestess of Delphi, or the Oracle. She's got access to the knowledge of the gods and can communicate to them and through them. Empress has changed. So in the original deck, this was a Rossetti picture, and in this one we have Death the Bride. So Persephone in the underworld as the queen of the underworld here, not as the maiden anymore. Surrounded by poppies. So this is the beauty yet danger of nature, because yes, they can become a drug, can't they? Our emperor has changed, and now we have Orpheus before Pluto and Persephone. So there's Persephone, there's Pluto, and we can't see Orpheus. Here she is as a queen. And we had Waterhouse, another Waterhouse image in the original. So we've got the Delphi, the Oracle of Delphi once again in both decks. This is a painting called Invocation, the Greek Oracle of Delphi. Lovers has changed. This one was called Springtime, so we couldn't really have springtime in an autumn deck, could we? So this is Helios and Rhodes. So two different characters, but echoing the relationship of Hades and Persephone, according to Cara. I really like this image of the chariot on the original, called a foam sprite, riding as a dolphin, I think. Whereas this one, completely different, a bat. Got bat wings here. It's the original Batwoman. Apparently bats were commonly associated with the underworld in ancient Greece, I suppose because they came from caves, or they live in caves. But anyway, spring is coming, and so Persephone is being carried back up out of the underworld by a bat. There we go. So strength is exactly the same card. This is Aphrodite, surrounded by peaceful animals, although they're usually seen as beasts, which means she has the strength to command and calm the wildest of creatures. Solitude has changed. Deep in thought there. And in this version we have Echo, another sad tale, a mountain nymph. And Hera, Zeus's wife, cursed her. And the curse meant that she could only speak by repeating what somebody said to her. So in Greek mythology, one of the worst things that could happen is to lose your power of speech, because to lose your power of speech meant to lose your power. You couldn't communicate anymore, you couldn't be understood. And so that was seen as really severe punishment. And this is what happened to Echo. And Echo actually fell in love with Narcissus and faded away after he died. These Greek myths are very sad. Okay, so we have Threads of Fate for our Wheel of Fortune and Fate in this deck. So, winding the skein of thread here. This is Lachesis, which we saw in Tarot of the Huntress. This is one of the morai. So this one measures the thread. This one is Atropos, and she's the one that cuts the thread. So two of the fates here. Oh, love this picture. Love this picture. Another Waterhouse. This is Circe. And she's offering a cup to Ulysses. But what's in the cup? Surrender for our hanged one. Same image again. The roses of Heliogabalus, buried in rose petals. Death has remained the same. It's quite a long title for this painting. It's At the First Touch of Winter, Summer Fades Away. So it's a changing of seasons from the light to the dark. So spring becomes winter. Handing over. Temperance, the same image. And here we've got Jason and Medea. Oh, she was so upset with Jason. So upset. The devil, that stayed the same as well. This is Lilith. Lilith has reclaimed her power, broken free from the chains that bound her. So for the tower in this one, we actually see the point of the actual time when Persephone was taken into the underworld against her will. Here we've got an echo to that card that we saw before with Sappho. So the card we saw before was Sappho actually drowning, and we saw her also walking alongside the sea. And now here we see her just before. She's about to plunge in, about to throw herself from the cliff. And this is brutal. This is Persephone's tower moment, and she's abducted. So she was out with the maidens, taking Narcissus, or looking, admiring at a Narcissus, and then all of a sudden, the earth opened up. Hades emerged, stole her, took her down into his underworld domain, and raped her and eventually made her his queen. Okay, the star has remained the same. This is the morning star. Our moon has changed, but we've seen this image before. Selene. And in this one, we have Cthonia, the queen of the fairies. We have the fairies there, having a sleep in the moonlit forest, being protected by the fairies. Our sun's changed. So here we've got Clytie, a water nymph, who fell in love with Helios, the sun god. Another one-sided infatuation. And here, the spring witch, Persephone, rising from the underground. She's coming through a little portal here, returning the sun to the earth. Judgment. The field of the slain. Ooh. Reaping the souls here. Angel of death, this is. Here we have Mercury, or Hermes. And he's ferrying the souls of the dead to the underworld, because he can travel between worlds. He's a psychopomp. The world has stayed the same image. This is rising spring, so this is a beautiful image from 1911 where Persephone is rising from the underground. And now we're into our one suit, and we've got the same image in both decks. So this is the allegory of charity, a burning heart symbolising the fiery potential of the wand suit. Two of Wands has changed. And we have the sorceress planning her next steps. And she's got the journal there. And make a potion, I think must be some sort of book of spells. And here we've got another water house. Sick of shadows, wants to get outside. The Three of Wands is the same image in both decks. This is Destiny, a woman who awaits the ship's arrival so that she can embark on a new journey. We have the Four of Wands is the same image. The return of Persephone once again, to meet her rejoicing, to see her daughter again, and we've got Hermes here, who's brought Persephone back. Same image in these two decks for the Five of Wands, Nymphs and Satire. Can't say that. They're all vying for his attention, actually. So the Six of Wands, we've got the same image in both decks. This is Autumn Vintage Festival. And this is a Maynard, which is a devotee of Dionysus. And there were quite a few of them. Okay, 7 of Wands. So this is Clytemnestra, which, if memory serves me right, is Iphigenia's mother. And here we've got a priestess guarding a temple gate. Okay, 8 of Wands has changed. So here we've got the flight of Boreas with Orythea. He's carrying this girl away here. So it's echoing the story of Persephone and Hades. The chill of the north wind heralds the coming of winter. And the wind is shown in this one as well. It's called windswept. The chill of the wind heralds the coming of winter when Persephone must return to Hades. Okay, 9 of Wands. A water house. Quite a few water houses in this deck, isn't there? So this is Ophelia. Another sad tale. She's losing energy there. And then here, Orpheus and Eurydice. So Orpheus leads Eurydice out of the underworld but cannot look at her. Actually ends up doing so, but it means he can't bring her out. It was one of the conditions when he went underground to save her, that he mustn't actually look at her. And of course he did, and so lost her. So this is Sisyphus, condemned by the gods for his despicable behaviour, forced to roll a boulder up a hill in the underworld. Each time he rolled it up, it would fall back down, and he had to bear this burden for all eternity. So very 10 of Wands energy there. And here we've got In Memoriam, so Kara has likened this to Demeter mourning the loss of Persephone. Again, Maiden of Wands, we've got the same image in both decks. So this is a priestess of Bacchus playing a song for her deer. I thought that was a hound, but apparently it's a little deer. Priestess of Wands, same image. The priestess of Bacchus. Queen of Wands hasn't changed. The love potion. And we've still got the black cat. I do like that touch, actually. The King of Wands has changed. So in here we have Satan summoning his legions. There's his legions in the background there. Satan could be Hades. Very powerful there. And in here, this is Alcibiades being taught by Socrates. So completely different energy there. Ace of Cups. We have the same image both decks. So this is the Marquis and 2 of her sons. So this is a seashell for a cup full of bounty here from the sea. A little chubby hands holding it, a little chubby face there. We've got a different image for the 2 of Cups. Oh, the Awakening of Adonis, another water house now in this deck. Loved by both Persephone and Aphrodite. Persephone cared for him as a baby, but Persephone fell in love with him. So Zeus decreed that Adonis would divide his time between both Aphrodite and Persephone. So who's this? Is this Persephone or Aphrodite? We've got a little romance going on in this deck as well. 3 of Cups. 3 women pouring water into a larger pot. Separate energies coming together as one. So blending. Yeah, that's good. 4 of Cups. Veronica. Rossetti painting. Playing a violin, but she's thinking of something else while she's doing it. 5. Demeter. Morning Persephone. Where's my daughter? A 6. So we've got flowers of spring here. Nostalgia. And here we've got someone offering a rose to Venus. Okay, the 7. Psyche. Entering Cupid's garden. Another water house. unaware of what's coming. Oh, and we've got a siren here. The sailor followed the siren song. It didn't end well. Miranda, another water house. There's a storm coming. The 9 is a mermaid. Beautiful picture, the mermaid picture. Another water house. 10, 3 graces in a garden of roses. Very happy. I love this one. It's so beautiful. It's actually called Spring. Lambs, Persephone as the maiden, as Corey. Maiden of Cups. A dreamy young fairy holds a satchel full of infinite possibilities. Is it her dowry? The Priestess of Cups. This is Circe again. A young Circe. And here we have Circe again, but an older version. She's learned how to use her magic for good or ill. Okay, so our King of Cups is Bacchus in this deck, or Dionysus, god of wine. It says in some myths he's said to be actually the son of Persephone. Our King of Cups here is a knight in shining armour called the Knight of the Flowers. Okay, it's onto the sword suit. This is David with the head of Goliath, apparently. But we just see part of the picture. The sword. Cutting through the illusion. Yeah. 2 of Swords. Making a choice between 2 flowers here. I really like this image in the original deck. Which face of herself shall she present today? Putting your makeup on. At 3 of Swords. So here we've got Orpheus, and he's mourning the death of Eurydice. A tragic love story Persephone was involved in. Very evocative image there. Okay, 4 of Swords. It's called Autumn. And the Harvest. And then the Sleeping Beauty in this one. 5 of Swords is Orestes pursued by the Furies. Oh, I've just been reading about this actually in the last book I read, which was Natalie Haynes' Divine Might. And there's a whole chapter on the Furies. It's reminiscent of your nightmares, really. You can't get away from the voices in your head. The goddesses of vengeance. And he murdered his own mother, which is why they won't leave him alone. And here we have Andromeda being held hostage by a sea dragon. So we have our beautiful Lady of Shalott in the boat. The 7 of Swords. Someone listening at the wall. Always makes me laugh, this picture. This is Thebe. Trying to listen to what's happening on the other side of the wall. 8 of Swords. This is a Millet painting from 1871. And she's been bound upon a rock in the middle of the sea. 9 of Swords. This is Psyche. Being abandoned. So Cupid has abandoned Psyche there. Pleading here. And this one is the Sleepwalker. This picture of Ophelia always makes me sad, because knowing the backstory here of this poor model contracting pneumonia from being submerged in a cold bath for hours and hours while Millet painted her. Ooh. Okay, Maiden of Swords. We have Judith. All about defence. Priestess of Swords. So this is the Dance of Salome. And that is John the Baptist's head on a plate. And here we have Salome again, planning. So she's got the sword there. I think this is before she actually takes John the Baptist's head. I'm quite pleased with herself. Okay, the Queen of Swords is Judith. And then for the king we have Mercury, the messenger god, the master of the mind, communication, and yeah. Okay, so we actually have the pomegranate as the ace of coins. It's called Festoon of Fruit and Flowers, the actual painting, but this is part of it. Pomegranate seeds that Persephone ate, whether she was forced to eat them or ate them willingly, differs in different stories, but nevertheless that condemned her to spend part of the year with Hades and the other part of the year with Demeter. We've got a girl with a basket of fruit here for the 2 of coins. Got some grapes in this one. So 3 of coins. And we've got the gathering almond blossoms. Working together to gather the flowers, and again working together to gather flowers in that one. And we've got 2 versions of the same painting here. So this is Proserpine from Rossetti, holding on to the pomegranate that decides fate. But this one's really been enhanced, and I quite like this version. Brings out the beautiful red hair of the model here. And the dress colour, the robe colour has changed as well. And we can see more in the image here as well, so that's cool. Okay, so the 5 of coins. Falling leaves. Autumn arrives. So winter's on its way. Leaves falling from the trees. And here we've got Pandora holding the box. Already opened it and realised what's happened, releasing all that evil into the world. Got blamed for a lot. Immortality here for 6 of coins. The greatest gift from the gods. Waterhouse painting for this one. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may. And roses don't last very long, do they? Okay, 7 of coins. So this is the Roman version of Demeter or Demeter. And you can see she's the goddess of the harvest because I've got the wheat in the background there. Smelling the roses. The 8 of coins is Penelope at her loom. So the wife of Odysseus, weaving while she's waiting for her husband to come back from the wars, from Troy. And I'm currently reading all about Penelope in this book here called Ithaca by Claire North. Okay, 9 of coins. The allegory of autumn. The autumn harvest. Pomegranates, grapes, all the fruit. Okay, 10. Again called autumn. So Demeter, goddess of the grain, all the grain around here. And then in this one, it's Flora, goddess of spring and fertility. So we've got the 2 seasons here. The maiden of coins is the flower vendor. And it says Persephone has gathered a bounty of flowers and skulls, 2 of her favourite things. I suppose as queen of the underworld, yeah, it makes sense. And then queen of spring, or when she returns to earth, spring flowers. So yeah, it makes sense, but it's very weird, isn't it, when you think about it. So we've got Ophelia again here. The young goddess of spring. Her priestess, allegory of summer. So this is Demeter again, mother of Persephone and goddess of agriculture. And this is one of Bacchus's priestesses. And then for the queen, Venus. So relates back to the Empress. That's another Rossetti painting there. And this is an allegory of summer, the goddess of the harvest. There's a queen. Again, echoing the the Empress from the Major Arcana. And then finally we have the King, which is Bacchus themselves. He provides the fruit and the wine. And maybe he was Persephone's son. Okay, so that's a side-by-side of both decks. So that's all 3 decks actually that I've got from Cora Small, which I'm really enjoying my Greek mythology studies. I call them studies, but it's like play really. It's really cool. So thank you so much for watching. And until my next video. Bye friends. Bye.